You know, the year's ending soon, so I want to take a nice little moment and just make a relaxing and fun video as a capstone to this year. Just something to where we can sit by the fire and enjoy ourselves in chill discussion. However, when it came to choosing what idea I wanted to pursue for my final video this year, I decided to choose the one about the problem with reviewing games, and I feel like that's a discussion which maybe isn't the most chill one out there. So, I think, you and me, let's make a pact right now. We're here to chill. It's cold as hell outside. This topic isn't one anyone's gotta raise pitchforks over. Maybe torches though, it's a little cold. I just want to talk about this topic because I think it's interesting to discuss. Really, end of the day, that's just the main reason. I mean, I was about to make this video back before Enfield's second beta dropped because a lot of the discussion surrounded the state of the game at that point, but I ended up not doing that because I got the most horrific sore throat ever and I sounded like I was downing 20 packs a day. So I decided that since a lot of people are already genuinely shocked I'm 23, it's best not to make a video where I sound like a 70-year-old with black lung. So even though it may not be the most jolly of topics, I don't care. We'll make it to be. Here's a stock PNG of a Christmas hat. There we go. That's jolly enough. But I actually do wish to talk about problems I've been seeing more and more with reviewing games, because I feel like as I've been doing it more, and as I've looked at other reviews, I sort of wanted to talk about what I've been seeing pop up, as I feel like some parts of it are affecting my own reviews, and other parts are affecting reviews in general. Now, in the past, I have made a video similar to this with Limbus, and I'll talk about it more later, but this topic is different to that because the Limbus vid was focused more on the community aspect of it, and this is more any game, any community, just stuff that happens with reviewing games. However, more from the lens of my perspective as a content creator who makes these reviews. But most importantly, I do want to clarify again, I ain't out here to try to be the head of a movement, bro. Like, do not treat this topic as if I'm trying to make a sweeping change in how reviews on YouTube are done or viewed, because I'm gonna give it a spoiler, bro, there's a lot of just, it is how it is, that is that, this is this. I ain't talking about this topic to be on the beaches of Normandy, bro. I'm talking about it because I think it's just interesting and it's been on my mind. Like, we ain't out here trying to win the Battle of Waterloo, bro. It's the day after Christmas. I am here to relax. But with that being said, I think there's two main reasons why reviewing games honestly for videos can be a bit difficult and why people may start opting in for more heavily sanitized reviews. One is backlash to negative reviews making people opt in for more positive ones, and two is people blindly taking an opinion they've heard about something and just running with that as if it's the sole truth about a game or movie or whatever. Honestly, kind of two different sides of it. One is people attacking the messenger for criticism, and the other is what happens when people blindly follow the messenger of the criticism. Now, with that being said, I do want to clarify that those points I brought up were oversimplifications of the problems. The actual truth is there's a lot more nuance, and the rest of this video is me talking about the nuance. But before talking about it, I got a contractual obligation. In case you don't know, Stellar Sora is a light action fantasy RPG designed in a top-down format that is available to play on iOS, Android, and PC. Now, the reason I'm talking about it is because the game's got an event coming up on the 22nd that lasts until January 12th. It's called Radiant Messenger Holy Night Spirit. It's Christmas themed, in case that wasn't obvious. The event's gonna have a new exclusive 5-star character, Snowish Laru, who serves as a versatile, aka she can serve as a DPS and or a support. She can do either single damage or AoE, it's dependent on the build route players choose, and the event's going to come with login rewards over the course of 21 days, which gives out free pulls, limited character, and disc banner pulls included. Now, aside from the event, the game also has a roguelike mode you can play as well. With a squad of 3, you can choose random perks for your characters as you travel throughout the tower to beat it. This is in addition to the game's story mode and new game modes where you can talk with your companions and forge bonds. Now, in the description of this video, you can find a redemption code for more rewards in the game and a link to try out Stellar Sora. Now, to explain the first point, I feel like a lot of people still believe being overly negative about something like a game is a way to get a popular video. So it results in people thinking negative reviews are just attention seeking, to where I've seen reviews that have well thought out criticisms completely dismissed as like, bro just wanted a popular video. And I'm not gonna lie, that shit is far from the case, with an asterisk. I think if someone wanted to make a video purely for views, for sweet clout, especially for views that help boost other metrics like subscribers or whatever, deadass, I think people are more likely to opt in for just glazing the hell out of a game. I'm not even kidding. Straight up, coming out here to say the game is the second coming of Christ, then targeting that video to the fan base of that game, that is honestly so much better for views than negative stuff to a kinda depressing point. glazing shit is the meta. Because the thing is with YouTube is that I prioritize the people watching the video for a good amount of time. So if someone stays watching a video for 10 minutes, YouTube's happier with that than if someone stayed watching it for 2 minutes. If I made a video saying, just for an example, Uma Musume is a dog shit game nobody cares about, do you think a fan of Uma Musume is going to spend more time watching a video that makes them mad, or spend more time watching a video saying it's goated? Which, I mean, to be fair, yeah, it kinda is goated. But in my experience, most of the time with negative reviews, people are more likely to just watch a minute of it, dislike it, and bounce, rather than actually stay and take in what the review has to say. And then over the course of the video gets spread around and people saying they hate it, it pulls in even more likely cases of viewers coming in, dropping a dislike, and leaving. But in cases where there's videos praising the hell out of people's favorite game, they're more likely to listen for a while. So the metric side of things incentivizes a sort of hyper positivity about games, because they'll help more in the algorithm. Now again, I need to specify this isn't the case for every little thing, there's nuance, but if I sit here and explain it all, we'll be here for 80 minutes, dog. And I'm not gonna lie, in a lot of cases it kind of just depends. Just know that I mean more than likely being incredibly positive about something usually ends up in a better performing video. Times where I'd say you could be negative about something and have that pop off is if your negativity feeds into someone's biases. Like if I can say, to just throw an example, I don't want to say no fucking fandom wars, that Wuthering Waves is trash because Genshin Impact absolutely mogs it, the video can do good if Genshin fans are the one tuning into it, because I'm being negative but propping up something else which is overall positive. Though, with that being said, I'm not here to say every positive review about something is inherently faked, especially when the topic is something that's popular. I think when a game is really popular, there's gotta be something to like about it, so being positive about it isn't a stretch. Like for example, to go back to it, me personally, I don't care too much for Genshin. I don't think it's terrible, I just don't have any desire to really keep logging in and playing it for myself. But I think the game does a great job of just being relaxing. Like the atmosphere and how they tie it into events and stories and minigames does a great job at just being chill. So even though overall I'm not too insane about it, I'd probably rate it like a 7 out of 10, which for my ratings means it's a good game. Might be able to hit up a 7.5 depending on how much I like Fontaine's story because I'm here to read it. But if I talked about it through the lens of a chill game, I'd really have nothing but positive things to say. Which I just want to clarify because I don't want people to think any positive review is inherently a psyop to get money. Some people are just really positive. Though for me, I never make a video being really positive about something if I feel like that game didn't earn it. There's been popular games I've played for videos and just decided to cut me talking about playing those games out because all I had to say was, bro, I didn't like this. I ain't gonna waste my time lying about liking something, and I also ain't gonna have a segment saying I didn't fuck with something and nothing else added to the table. And what puts more weight on the case of positive reviews generally being more favored over negative ones is the backlash people get in negative reviews, which, to put it simply, you're gonna get interesting comments. Like in my DNA review where I was mostly positive about the game, I showed that I played a bit of Warframe and showed the time of 250 hours. Some people then proceeded to leave comments saying I haven't even gone to play the true game of Warframe, and that I probably don't even have Steel Path unlocked yet. You unlock it by beating every mission on the star chart. And the thing is, bro, I used footage of me clearing shit in Steel Path for the video. Hell, let me do it again for this video. You can see it plainly. I'm one-shotting these motherfuckers. It's almost as if 250 hours is actually a significant amount of time, and you can make a semi-competent build within that span of time. And the only reason I've not done the full star chart on Steel Path yet is because I'm too lazy to, but that's the thing. At times, making a review feels like you're in a room with, okay, this is maybe a little harsh, but you're in a room with 5,000 different Redditors ready to actually you. Like, I didn't think I would need to clarify I unlocked and can do Steel Path after 250 hours, but to some people, apparently I did, and apparently the footage of me doing it wasn't enough. So it gets to the point where reviews can really end up feeling like this. Hey guys, I played this game and the combat was goated. That shit was gas. They popped off with it. Video does well, everyone is happy. Or the other reality. Hey guys, I played this game and the combat didn't hit for me. Now with me saying that, I don't mean it's horrific. I don't mean it's Satan reincarnated within our corporeal realm, trapped within these systems to make the worst abomination imaginable. I just, personally, think the combat has the potential to be really good, but some things hold it back, like the builds not being too in-depth, and the enemies being simple. But if those problems could be addressed, I think it'll be really good because they pop off in every other aspect. And then you're gonna get a comment saying, okay, so you thought the combat was dog shit. Bro, oh my god, fucking pancakes and waffles. I feel like since people get very attached to what they love, any negative criticism against it feels like an attack to them specifically, rather than viewing what that criticism is about as a product on its own. Which leads to people viewing criticism about something not as a discussion on how to improve it, but as an argument they need to win at any means necessary. Because if the criticism is correct, then what they love loses value, which causes a lot of gotcha moments to happen in the video unless you somehow word it like it's a bulletproof PhD-driven scientific thesis. And even then, if you could somehow do that, you're just gonna get backlash by people who don't watch the entire video or hear what you have to say, don't internalize anything, and just don't understand what you said, so they get mad at you for fanfic they made up in their mind about what they thought you said. And this backlash reinforces that forced positivity, even in cases where the criticism you got to say might just be something people really like. For example, my Limbus video, where I talked about Limbus Company and the various times I've seen people get jumped for critiques they had to say about the game. One example, to give the tone of that video, was someone who made a record low turn count for a refraction railway in Limbus. It's pretty much the hardest content in the game. Then when they said they disliked how RNG heavy Limbus gameplay can be, they were jumped by people hating on them for saying that. The point of the video was that when there is such a degree of toxic positivity in the community where having an opinion that breaks away from the mold ends up in you getting harassed, despite having the clearest credentials to judge the gameplay, we get to a point where it's hard for the game to improve because everyone is trying to say it's perfect in its current state. And you know what the reaction was to that video? People hated me as a person for what I said in it. Hell, I'm pretty sure there was even an entire thread on Reddit that got a couple of 100 comments with a good amount of them hating on me and misrepresenting my points. They did not take the criticisms I had about the game in that state and deconstructed that. They instead ignored what I said and attacked me as a person. But to be clear, not every comment was like that. Some people were saying the video was fine, but the title was bad. I agree, I'm terrible at making titles. At first I thought it was good and it still represented my stance well, but looking back on it, it wasn't the best, so I'm glad I went to change that shit. But there were some people really hating me for the points of change I suggested in that video. But you wanna know what I think was a good outcome for that video? Some of the criticisms I had in it were, Limbus has about 50 employees working on it. We need more. The game has dead months of content. We need more content. Preferably permanent content so FOMO isn't a thing, and the game has had, after 2 years, 2 new game modes added to it. Mirror Dungeons, which are roguelikes, and Luxcavations, which are just farming stages. Now the response to that was, for the few people who didn't just attack my character, was that it's fine to have 50 people only working on the game. It having dead months is actually good because people don't feel overwhelmed with content, and we don't need more game modes. But you wanna know what Limbus did after that video? The CEO said on a live stream they're looking into hiring more people. The game hasn't had a dead month ever since Canto 8 dropped until just now, which maybe technically isn't a dead month because we're getting Canto 9 right at the end of this month. But content has dropped much more frequently, and a recent event, Spring Cultivation, added a new game mode in the way of a semi-trainer sim, pretty much a nice little minigame, and guess what? People fucking loved it. They loved the new game mode, they liked PM saying they'll get more people, and the content has been incredibly fucking steady. Guess what? The changes for it were good, but around the time I made that video, people were hating on me for it, and those same people are enjoying what the game ended up doing. Not to mention that I bar for bar said something like a weekly mode where you can fight bosses would be kinda chill. Then the CEO of the company a few weeks ago was like, hey, we're thinking of adding in a mode where you can fight a really strong boss once every 2 to 4 weeks. Like, bro, come on. Now, am I saying I'm responsible for any of this? Nah, not in the slightest. Because I imagine a lot of these choices were put into effect long before I released that video, as game companies usually operate with working on content months before it releases. And especially with hiring employees, because they plan to do that heavily with the new building they're making, so I can guarantee that shit was planned out for a while. It just so happens that what I asked for in that video coincided with the actual changes PM was already preparing to implement. And for the boss fighting mode, what I suggested was a little different, because even though it's the same in the sense of a challenging fight you can do every couple of weeks, I was thinking more of a boss rush of like some few fights, but there's a sounding like one big one. But I like that video because even though I don't think it changed the game, I think it's a really solid example of why criticism shouldn't be shunned. Because a lot of the responses to that video were calling my suggestions stupid or unrealistic. Well, it's now very real and planned to happen. Which is why I think fighting against criticism like you're in a crusade is just childish. You see what people gotta say, hear them out, discuss what those points are. And the thing is, from that video, I can say the complete other side of the spectrum kinda sucks as well, where you're seen as a figurehead for criticism. Now, remember when I said this video was going to be about Enfield originally? Yeah, I can't deny, it's still the best example of this point. But I also don't want to dive too much into that specifically and make this video purely about the discourse and drama because A, it detracts from the greater point of the video, and B, I think a lot of the problems, like discourse and such, aren't appearing as much as they did before the second CBT. I mean, I've still seen some bad apples, but I'm not going to zoom in on them and say the entire orchard is rotten. Though it's still a perfect example for games I feel confident talking about, because it was sort of a perfect storm. In case you don't know, Enfield is a game that's yet to launch. It's going to drop in a month. Kinda feels weird saying that, actually, but it's only had closed beta tests so far, not any open ones. This caused a storm in which Enfield was a game following up on a beloved IP, and a lot of fans for that IP really wanted it to be perfect, but they couldn't play the game to experience it themselves, so the only way a lot of people got to experience the game was from others' playthroughs, first impressions, and reviews. Now, honestly, that's a pretty valid way to get a feel for the game. Take in a source you trust, hear what they have to say, and find out how that personally relates to you, and if it all sounds good, then the state of the game in that beta sounds like a good one, and I would say a good chunk of people who checked out reviews were like this. But some of the responses I saw as a byproduct of criticism were people taking in that criticism like it's gospel and the game needs to follow it, or the exact opposite. It's something they hate, and so therefore if the game follows it, it'll be ruined. Now for pretense, I think my take when it comes to criticism is one not a lot of people share. I personally think so long as the criticism that is being given out about something is not misinformed, I believe it's valid. Now, with that being said, are there times I hear criticism about something that may be factually correct, but it causes me to scratch my head? Most definitely. Like for example, for regular Arknights, I've heard the take time and time again that some people just can't get into it because the chibis for combat look stupid. Now to me, I find it a bit off because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I don't even think about it. I'm just focused on clearing the stage really. I notice the animations for moves, but for the most part, the chibis aren't even like the 10th thing I'm thinking about in a stage. But if that's someone's personal reason for not being able to throw themselves into the combat, I think it's fair. So long as they've actually tried the combat and know it's just a them thing, then I'd personally just suggest Path to Nowhere for them because it doesn't have that problem. But the main reason why I'm able to accept that criticism, even though yeah, it does sound kind of stupid, is what I said. They gave it a shot, but they themselves weren't feeling it. However, if we take an example of a game where a lot of people are saying criticisms for it without ever actually having played the game and fighting or getting into arguments for that criticism, that's where a problem arises, because that's what a review can unfortunately spiral into, even if the creator of it desperately wants that to not be the case. As there are times where criticism can be pretty cut and dry. Think like in Limbus. 99% of people said the pacing with the stages in Canto 4 was ass, because it was, and then some years later, PM decided to go back and X the number of stages in it. Everyone cheered, pretty much. But then I'm not gonna lie, there are times where it depends. Either personal preference taking hold, or predictions about how systems in a game will unfold, and worry about the state of the game from that. But at the end of the day, they're just predictions. And the problem with taking criticisms like they're gospel is that you really need to discuss the strength of a criticism to get value out of it. To put it simply, sometimes people get, I hate this goddamn term, influenced. Now again, to specify, I don't think checking out a review and thinking about the points to find out if you agree with them or not is a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing when people take criticisms of something, either from what they heard or their own, and just don't engage in discussions about that criticism, just instead treat it as a truth that everyone should share or they're stupid. For criticisms to have any merit and reason for existing, I think healthy discussion about why they are valid or not needs to be had, unless of course it's a personal thing. Like, I don't fuck too heavy with the gameplay in Fire Emblem games. I like them, I like the concept of them, but every time I've gone to play one, I just end up getting burnt out of the gameplay. I don't know what to say. And I ain't here to discuss or defend that point. That shit is purely a me thing and a problem I got. It ain't a fault with the games, they're beloved for a reason, it's just a personal thing. But when criticisms exist that originate from opinions are made to be this huge sweeping thing that everyone is at each other's throats for, we start missing the plot. People stop debating and improving the criticism over time, which should be the case, and instead just use it as fuel to be mad at each other. Which, it's good that people are listening to criticism existing that something can be bad, but if you take that criticism and use it as an example of this thing is bad and don't ever take in any counters towards that, it creates a problem. And then for the content creator side of things, it makes an unfortunate scenario where content creators end up as vehicles where a certain subsection of people get their thoughts from. And there's no way to really stop that. You can make a video with 1,000 words as pretext saying, don't copy my opinion, and the top comment is gonna be, thanks for the video, I have my opinion now. That's why in a lot of my reviews, even if overall I don't think it's really negative, I'll try to have a segment in saying like, hey, guys, try out this game for yourself, because I don't want a situation to arise where I played a game and didn't like it, and then people immediately think they'll hate it because they heard one review saying it was bad, when they may end up liking it. But there's also the side to where if you do give out criticism, people think you're actively trying to kill whatever game it is. So then they get even more mad at you from that. And then I see cases where people parrot an opinion they heard about the game without playing it for themselves to understand if that's even a criticism that is factual or one they hold. For example, taking it back to Infield, when blueprints were announced, some people really hated it because they felt like it took away the complexity of the base builder system and might just give cause for Hypergriff to abandon that system. And the thing is, that criticism is fair as fuck. But then some people said it's a sign of Hypergriff abandoning their vision for the game, like we all knew what that was, when in reality, almost 2 years ago in the tech test for the game, one of the surveys outright asked if it's something players want to see. Here's my old ass video talking about it. Even aside from guides, the survey brought up the option of being able to apply user uploaded blueprints. I don't know if they'll do that, but fuck, I would love to see it. And like, I don't know, man, to ask that question 2 years ago, shit, maybe it was a part of their vision, maybe just a little. And that's part of the pipeline. One person says something, others hear it, spread it, it spirals and becomes a truth, even though it may have never been correct to begin with. Or if it was correct, it's more of a personal outlook. Now again, in the case of Enfield, can't really blame people too much, just outright people have not had the ability to play the game, but then you see this shit happen in fully released games and it's just baffling. But if people only hear one voice of reference about something, some just view that one as the truth. And when it comes to very subjective opinions, if people hear that and defend it because they think it's correct without understanding why that opinion came to be, you shoot interesting discussion about something in the foot immediately. That's when tribalism and fanaticism and cannibalism, it's when all that starts taking place. Now, is there any way to fix it? Fuck no. The most I can try to do to stop this from happening in my community, because I think y'all are rather chill, is giving out a discretion on all my videos that my subjective opinions need to be viewed as just that, and disagreeing with them is fine. The most I can ask is that when I say something, you understand where that criticism is coming from, and hopefully I've done a good enough job of conveying it. Which I'm not gonna lie, at times, I haven't. But the thing is, I know that ideal is kinda impossible. I've had videos where I spent a solid chunk speaking out against something and watched as some people just bar for bar did exactly what I spoke out against. I'm not gonna lie, some people just don't care. And I feel like this has influenced a lot in how I review stuff because I always try to say, this is in my opinion, unless it is something that I think is factually true. I try to say, in my opinion, X, Y, and Z, because I don't want people to just blindly take it as the truth. Now, both these points culminate in giving me the feeling that if you are a regular reviewer of games and stuff, you may just not want to give out gigantic criticisms about something, because if it really picks up, you can be seen as the head of a movement and changing a game or something, which, let me tell you, it can come with a lot of backlash. People will view that as attacking the game, and you could very well get harassment from it if your criticism has any holes in it. Hell, you can get fans of that game rating your comments, content creators of that game making videos calling you stupid, and then people will look at that and say, well, I mean, the review was bad, so this is a valid response. Yet, attacking someone's person for what they said about a game doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you should just disagree with what they said. Like, if someone gives out a bad point, it's valid to say this is dumb because of these reasons. But if you take that and point it at the person saying it and start calling them a dumbass, it's a little much. But then the other reality is, if you make a video where a lot of people can agree with your criticism, sometimes people will run with that criticism without taking into account why you think that's the case, and you can be seen as the reason it's hated. Criticizing something is seen as attacking it, so others attack you for what you say. And if you aren't perfect in what you got to bring up, you're gonna get a lot of shit for it. While the other reality is, you could just be overtly positive about something and the video performs much better and you only get a fraction of the shit, if at all. And it can create, and this isn't really by design, I think it just happens, forced positivity. That's sort of the problem I've been seeing as a reviewer. Where giving out honest thoughts can be like sticking your neck out and you need to put in 10 times more effort to make sure it's bulletproof. But whipping up some generic, this is amazing, video takes a lot less time and is so much better on the mental. And the thing is, this isn't like some grand conspiracy or something, it's just kind of how it goes. Like, if you're criticizing something, you should need to really think about what you're saying, and most importantly, how you're saying it. Like, that is a given. It's something you should do, especially when you're at a point of having a lot of influence. I think putting in a lot of effort in what you're saying and thinking about how that comes across is just like the bare minimum. And fans reacting in a negative way, that's just a human thing. It's just how it is. And being able to not deal with any of that and just chill with a good vibes video, of course, is just easier to do. That's why I said it's kind of just a, it is what it is situation. I'd hope that people can generally chill on critiques of stuff they like, and also content creators can generally chill away from making very sensationalized videos when they do gotta do critiques of something, because that never helps. But end of the day, I know nothing can really be changed. I can only hope that after explaining all this, y'all were just interested in the topic. But that's all. Late Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. I'll see y'all with streaming Kanto Ryoshu soon next year, which would probably just be like the 1st of January or something. I just hope y'all can have a nice time till the year's over.